When you retire, you may get a chance to go to football heaven. This is football heaven.
Hello and welcome to The Mission. I'm your host, Jameer Howerton, and we hope that you have been enjoying On Our Road to Excellence series, where we have been given the golden opportunity to catch up with finalists from this year's 2021 class of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And so far, we had the honor of speaking with Clay Matthews, Alan Faneca, and Richard Seymour. Now, this year's class has 4 finalists for first-year eligibility, meaning basically there are 4 potential first-ballot Hall of Famers in this year's class. And today, I get a chance to speak with Motor City's own Megatron, Mr. Calvin Johnson. How you doing, sir?
Doing great. Thanks for the intro.
Oh, man. Welcome to The Mission. I can't wait to dive in and talk about your rich tradition, your football legacy. But before we go in, what was that phone call like that you received the notice from CEO President Mr. David Baker?
Pretty awesome. Got the call about maybe a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, man. Just to hear, all the work that has gone down. Obviously, it's a personal deal, but it's a team sport. For all of us to come together, we'll all celebrate this together, and it'll be a tremendous honor. When that time comes.
Speaking of that honor, this is your first year of being a finalist. What does it mean when you look back at your history, when you look back at your football legacy? What does this mean to you, your family, and just balling out there as a young kid playing football?
Just going out there, just anything you put your mind to, greatness. Mom always told me when you're a kid, you're a king, it's only you. You got to believe it yourself. Nobody else is going to tell you. Nobody else is going to believe in it. If you don't, you have to go out there and show the world, what you could do. And I think it's just that, just that spiritual foundation, just having that great upbringing, that support system, just gave you more reason to fight for it and continue to excel.
I know you've answered this question numerous times, but I really want to revisit this question. The nickname, Megatron, we know it came from a teammate, Roy Williams, who is hilarious, by the way. But I really want to know, how did it happen? You know what I mean? Because, certain nicknames come and, I just want to know, how did that nickname come? I can only imagine.
But I have to say, with everything else in my life, probably for certain other people as well, it's timing. Just happened to be in 2007. I think that's my rookie year. Yeah, Transformers came out. The first Transformers came out, and I guess it's coming out, and I'm out there flying around the field, big fast guy, and Roy just all of a sudden just started calling me, "Hey man, you Megatron." And at the time,
was it 7-on-7 or was it during team drill? You know what I mean? Because I can see Roy now.
Exactly what it was.
I mean, how did he say it? Like, you Megatron right now.
No, I think it's just he came off like, man, you know what? I'm gonna start calling you Megatron. And the funny thing, he didn't catch on at all that first year at all. It's really towards the end of my second year when people actually started calling me.
Wow. 6'5", 230 plus, ran a 4.35 40. That's moving, man. That's moving.
Yeah,
where did this speed come from?
I've always grown up. I guess I'd say I was moderately fast. Not that I was never the fastest guy in the room, but I always wanted to work. I always wanted to be the fastest person. I know. I wasn't built for it, but I was like, hey, I always say, anything you put your mind to, you could do it. So fortunately, I went down to Tom Shaw training after my junior year in college. Went down there. It's like a speed school, along with for every there's different coaches for every position. But all we did was work on speed, over speed, pulling with the bungees, resistance, strengthening those legs, and in turn, we had probably 3 or 4 of the fastest times in the combine that year.
Wow.
Tom Shaw training down Orlando.
Listen, man, the second pick, the highest in Georgia Tech history. Talk about that honor, man. That's huge.
Yeah, man. From the work that we put in college, we had a great, I say we because I just think all my teammates, we had a great college career there. We had a lot of wins. I think that more than we were doing there at Tech at the time, we're beating big schools like Miami's of the world, at their own home, so be able to come out of there, produce like we did. The coaches believed in me from day one. They threw me into the fire. I think that's what started it, man. They threw me in the fire the first day I got there. And from that point on, it wasn't no looking back. I'm in it. I got to keep on in my mindset, just to strive for perfection. It's a constant detail looking at that film. And it's like, oh, that little step wasn't right. I didn't catch that ball as clean as I needed to. Just little things like that. You work on those little things day by day. You stack them up, and it creates that greatness that translates to the field.
Amazing. Before I ask this question about your career, because I want to dive in and talk about the 2012 season, because it was amazing. What has the phone calls like been? I know you spoke with CEO President David Baker, but what's it been like just now knowing like your former teammates, former classmates, teachers? Who has been calling you saying, congratulations, Calvin?
I get a new congratulations every day. I'll see somebody that I haven't seen ever since I got the honor, of being a finalist a couple weeks ago. So every day I see somebody new that I haven't seen, I'm getting the congratulations again and again, just like, for what? I'm like, oh, shoot, yeah, that's right.
When you look back at your career, who was that one guy, and I know you mentioned it, and I really want to dive into it, but who was that one guy that just gave you fits, that you knew like, oh, goodness gracious, I got to face this guy. It's going to be a long day?
I had to start with very beginning of my career. I wouldn't say, Al Harris, playing with him in Green Bay. And the reason was, and I think it kind of built me mentally for the rest of my career, was that when we started, Roy hated playing against Al Harris. Why? Because Al, all he did was jam and put his hands in your face, from the first play to the last. And not many guys are going to come out here each and every day and get in your face and push you around and battle for a whole 65 plays. They're going to be like half of those plays they take off. Nah, I was in your face trying to hit you in the face, getting your chest every play. So I was like, dang, man, like, is this how this is going to be? This is how the NFL is? I'm like, oh, I got a lot of work to do, So after that first year, that's all I worked on. I worked on footwork. I worked on getting off the line of scrimmage because, if you work hard early and down, the rest of it's easy.
Yeah, I can tell because working hard, this came about. Really? Talk about display. Do you remember this? Because I've never seen it. I've seen these special teams, when the gunner, but not on a regular down on a goal line.
People ask me, like, when you play gunner, they'll show me that picture. I'm like, I ain't never played gunner, man. They're trying to stop the fade. I wish they would have just threw it up so I could do it. Let me do it. Let me do it on them.
You talked about that 2012 season where you had 1,964 yards, most ever in a single season. What made that season so special in Detroit?
Man, I look back at that season and I had to think about Sean Jefferson. He played like 13, a couple different teams, but talking about the best receiver coach there is in the league that I've ever had, probably is still the best one in the league right now. Halfway through that season, Sean came to me and he said, you're on pace to break Jerry Rice's record. He's like, we're going to go get it. I looked at him like, shoot, man, dang, boy, that's a tall order, you know what I'm saying? But we were having a great season. We were having 200-yard games here and there. He's like, yeah, you're going to need about three more 200-yard games in order to get it. I'm like, dang, coach, like, some guys don't even get that in the season, man. I got to get two? I'm like, dang. But, he was on me every game, pushing me. And I never was like, I'm going to go get Jerry's record. All I was like, I'm going to put my head down and I'm going to grind and I'm going to take advantage of every opportunity I get. That's all I could do. I might get thrown the ball 5 times a game. I might get it thrown 10 times a game. But I'm going to try to make every one of those that come my way. And I think it's just that mindset, to kind of, got us to the end and push us over the top. And it was no better way to do that than playing Atlanta, the home team, from Georgia. So being from Georgia to do that against Atlanta, that was awesome. And to do it in front of the home crowd, that made it all that much more special.
What is that? What's that communication like? You speak of Jerry Rice. I know guys are very ultra competitive, but at the end of the day, we want to see each other win. So did you get a chance to hear from Jerry? Did you have that communication with him?
The first time, I mean, Jerry, he came on Jumbotron. I guess the team probably got him to say something leading up to the end of the season there. But the first time I actually met Jerry, man, was on when I was doing Dancing with the Stars. You know, they surprised me at the end of one of my dances and had him throw the ball to me. I'm glad I ain't dropped it because I was so surprised when I saw when he threw it to me. I'm just glad I didn't drop the ball. It wouldn't mess up my dance. But that was the first time I met Jerry, man. It's awesome. That was his way to meet him. Great way to meet him.
That's a great segue because I was going to talk about that later, but now that we're here, let's dive into that. What was that experience like, man?
I think that taught me like a life lesson that we already knew, was that anything you put your mind to, you could do it. I never danced. I'm gonna go ahead and say I couldn't dance at first. I mean, my sister, she was like, "You can't dance. You ain't got no business going on that show." And then my sister, you know, we competed all the way up. She was like 4 years older than me. And once I think it was her probably that saying that you can't do it, you know, it kind of burned inside a little bit. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go show you. And it was cool. You know, I made it to the finalists. You know, it was an awesome experience. I had a great partner in Lindsay. I'm so glad she won a mirror ball like a year later or something like that. But it was a phenomenal experience just being around all those people. Obviously, get to spend time in LA, but just dancing, doing something you have trouble with, you know, and to excel at it, you know, just like I say, just a reminder that we can do anything we put our minds to.
That's pretty cool because I grew up a dancer, tap dancer, jazz, ballet, everything. And I loved Lynn Swan because, you know, I love football too. And I played football, but, you know, guys want to make fun of you like, oh man, you're a dancer. You know, you go through that. But did you find yourself having a deeper appreciation, you know, for the discipline?
So much appreciation. And I wish, you know, you hear about guys doing ballet and dancing. Like they used to hear about like Lynn Swans did this, like to help them with their football. I wish I did that from the very beginning. Talking about footwork, you're light on your toes. I was like, oh, why wasn't I doing this from the beginning?
I mean, Baryshnikov is truth. He was the truth. Gregory Hines. I mean, that skill, the rhythm, it's real. It's. I know you're not competing on the level of an athlete, but you are an athlete.
100%, and you getting the work of an athlete. That's for dang sure. You get some work when you're dancing, boy. I lost about 10 pounds during that.
You did?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, even lighter than I was playing football. It's crazy. Yeah.
Wow. Well, you know what, Calvin? I want to read off some testimonials, and I really want to get your reflection on your reflection on what some people had said about you. He's truly one of the most remarkable people I've ever met, and I have so much respect for him as anyone I know. Calvin's character, integrity, selflessness, and humility are unmatched. His exemplary work ethic and approach to the game of football made everyone around him better. Head coach Jim Caldwell.
Oh man, that's I love Coach, man. That's probably one of the most respected coaches I've ever had. Obviously, he might have been my first head coach that was a black man, but to see how he led a team. You know, there's some guys that come around rah, cursing and stuff like that. That man did not cuss. And I tell you, that trickled down through the whole organization about how we as men handle ourselves in our communication with other people. Not only that, I mean, he's been around greats. You know, he's been around so many greats. And for, you know, to get a compliment like that from a man like that, you know, I just try to go out here and, you know, lead by example. I'm not the biggest rah guy and stuff, but I know that if I'm the best player on the field and I go out here and bust my hump and y'all see me doing it, and there's nothing less expected from the rest of you.
Okay, another guy I want to read off to you. He says, by far, Calvin presents more troubles for me than any other receiver because he's big, fast, he's physical, he's going to block, he's always in the game, play in and play out. So you have to make sure you're on your P's and Q's. Patrick Peterson.
I knew that was coming from Pat. It's like every year we had to play Arizona for some reason every year. I'm like, why do we play the same team every year, even though they're not in our division, in our current division? So playing Pat, man, one other than the gentleman I mentioned at the beginning, you know, he's in your face every play. He wants to press, you know, he wants to disrupt. And that's the same thing for me. You know, I want to be in your face. I want to give it to you every play until you give up. I want to keep on putting it on you, whether it's blocking, whether it's getting the pass thrown to me. Now, I will back up and say, if they were throwing me 20 balls a game, this thing would be ugly out here. It wouldn't be any more record standing.
Now, your teammate, Nate Burleson, said that there were moments where you asked him to change positions because you wanted to block.
Yeah, I mean, there's a game where we might have been playing in Cleveland, and a linebacker took a cheap shot at me at one play. And, I remember, you taking cheap shots at me, I'm trying to get you. I'm trying to tag you back. So I told Nate, let me get in the slot, dude. I got to hit this dude. I'm mad. I got to hit him. Let me go get him. So Nate's like, all right, you got it, dog. And he let me go get him. And I just went in there head first. Probably would have got a fine and penalty nowadays. But, I just had to tag him back because he took a cheap shot on me. And actually, there's another play where I got the ball and I saw him. And instead of going and scoring a touchdown, I ran right at him and just tried to truck him. I mean, I ended up on the 1 yard line and we still scored, but it was just, I was seeing red that day.
What was it like playing in front of Lions Nation? We always talk about, everybody's team has the best fans in all of professional sports.
Yeah.
But what was it like playing in front of Lions Nation?
Oh, man. I'm going to go back to one game in particular. We started on 5. We were playing the Chicago Bears on Monday night. And that year, man, I mean, you got to see what Lion Nation is all about. Not that they're any different any other season, but you juiced up on Monday night and you're 5-0. You're going to be juiced up in any other time. So I'll tell you, that's the loudest I ever heard 65,000 people, man, in one place. Granted, we're in a dome setting, so that thing's all that noise is bouncing off the ceiling. But you're talking about deafening. I believe the Bears probably had 11 pre-snap penalties that game. That's how loud it was. It was thunderous. And, those are the times, man, we had some great teams around that time, some great offenses, and we were rolling.
Well, the Pro Football Hall of Fame has teamed up with Ford for the official Ford fan vote for the past 10 years now. And this is an opportunity where fans get a chance to vote like Hall of Fame selectors. And I have to tell you, man, you're in the top 5. You're 23,164 votes that the fans are like really pulling for you for this year's 2021 class.
That's awesome.
So I had to mention that. And, it seemed like every year you talked about playing in Arizona. Every year you guys play on the Thanksgiving Bowl. How does that happen?
It's just tradition. And I remember there's a while there where I think it's after I was playing when I got done, after I retired, they're trying to get the Lions off of that game because they weren't doing any good. But while we were playing, man, that was probably one of the funnest games because you get the national stage. You're playing like Green Bay or Chicago, one of the other big dogs in the division. So it's even that much more important being a divisional game. So the only thing that sucked about that game is the fact that you're playing 3 games in 12 days. And that's a third of those games. So that's the only thing. If you make it to that game healthy, you're juiced up either way. But, it's showtime. And I was fortunate to have some good Thanksgiving games, man.
That's great. That's great. I know the Pro Football Hall of Fame isn't in your backyard, but it's not that far away. Have you ever been to the Hall of Fame? Have you ever walked through and went through? You have. Well, when'd you come?
This might have been probably towards the beginning of my career. I'm trying to think. Was it the team might have played we might have played in played the Browns and took a trip over the Hall of Fame one year, I believe. But yeah, going through there, seeing all the buzz, seeing all the history, that was awesome. It was phenomenal. Yeah.
Now you spoke about Jerry. You spoke about Jerry Rice earlier, but if you did have the opportunity and you were in this year's class, who is that Hall of Famer that you want to sit down and talk with?
Ooh, dang. Who do I want to sit down and talk with? Dang, that's a tough one, man. I would want to speak with anybody that was a teammate to any of my coaches, especially Sean Jay. I got an idea what Sean Jefferson was like. He seemed like he was a live wire back then, just knowing him now. We kind of calm down as we get older. I see him as a live wire. I just want to see what he was like as a teammate back during those days. I think he was great. I'm just curious just to meet I've met Randy, T.O., Jerry. Those guys that helped me model my game. I wanted to be able to be durable, like a T.O., Moss guys like Randy, and do those great things and put it all up under one hood, and be the best route runner, be the best big playmaker, be the best blocker. I want to do all those things exceptionally and put it all in one package. So, I'm thankful for those guys coming before me and, being able to spend some time with those guys in a gold jacket would be pretty nice.
So it's safe to say if you get selected and you get elected into this year's class, you coming to Tampa Bay. Yeah.
Oh yeah, if I get selected, yeah, I'm down there.
Well, before we let you go, I noticed that now in your career, your post-career, you're giving back. Your foundation is giving back. Let's talk about that. What are some of the things that you're doing, to really strengthen and to spread that wisdom, the lessons that you learned along the way?
Yeah, a couple things. Yeah, so started my foundation, Calvin Johnson Jr. Foundation, in 2008. I don't even know what year. We're 10 plus years strong now. We've been giving scholarships, and our mission is just to contribute to the youth and those families that have been abused in society, and help making those families and those youth just more productive members of society through the programs and initiatives that we offer, the conferences, the camps, whether the mentorship, just doing these programs throughout the year. This has been an off year this year as far as getting out in the community and doing things, face to face. I mean, we'll still give our scholarships and things like that. But that's the main focus, is just helping these young men, giving them an example, not just myself, but examples of people that are doing the things that they want to do. I mean, if you want to be an accountant, if you want to be a dentist, I try to put those people in front of my guys for conferences on a yearly basis, so that they can pick these guys' brains and have a mentor, somebody that they can learn from, and if they're doing the things that they want to do. And that's the key thing, is just to expose the guys to just different walks of life. And I mean, who knows? You might not know what you want to do, and that's okay, as a young man. But, when you see it, something might click in you. You might be inspired. You might have passionate about it. And that's all we're looking for, just to, get some of those guys going in the right direction.
That's amazing. Where did that come from, man? Where did your internal fortitude to want to give back? Where did that come from?
Yeah, I think just from family. I mean, my grandfather, he's a Baptist preacher. He still preaches, and he's 80 plus years old now. But just growing up, we were in the community. We went to church. We were constantly giving back in community programs. And I think for me, as a young adult, it really didn't click on how much of an impact it is until I was actually able to do it and see it for myself. And it wasn't actually doing the Calvin Johnson Jr. Foundation. It was helping other guys in my first year with their foundation. And I was like, oh, we got to do this. I see the impact that we have on these kids. Yeah, these kids love to be around us, but they listen. They want to soak it in. And fortunately for me, I've been able to see some of my scholars go off and do some good things, So, it's, just to be able to take it full circle, bring it back down to the grassroots level and just kind of, reinvigorate all the young guys out there and just give them something to grow off of, man. That's what I love to do. And other than that, non-foundation related, I love just talking to guys, receivers, even cornerbacks, about what I've learned on the field. I love to go back and pour it into them and give it all to them, let them soak it up. And I do that nowadays. I've been around to a couple of different teams and just sat down with the receivers, talked to them, get inside their head and just, see what makes them great, what makes them tick, and just pour everything I got. I don't have nothing to hide. I just want to give it back.
With that being said, my man down there in Seattle, he looks like he could be a Megatron Jr.
That boy, he's swole to me, man. That boy, he like a linebacker for real.
Metcalf.
What? Metcalf, killing it. It's funny, man. I talked to Metcalf a couple weeks ago, and he mentioned, I didn't mean any disrespect or whatever when they were doing the comparison. I'm like, dude, you said what you're supposed to say. You said you trying to be the best version of yourself, and if that makes you better than me, that so be it. If you're trying to be the best version of yourself, man, you should. That's all you can ask for. Just try to perfect your own craft, and it's going to take you where it takes you. You don't have to worry about comparing yourself to me or to a Randy Moss. No, do your thing and let it make your own name. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I told him. And I love his mindset where he's at, as a young player, man. And I love watching him.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, Calvin Johnson, a.k.a. Megatron, we thank you so much for joining us right here on The Mission.
Oh, this is great. Thanks, Shamir.